Hi everyone. So this is Ben Puckett. He's working in the U.S. Space Rocket Center, and we are glad to have you here.
Thank you. This is a great first show.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to talking about aerospace and a lot of the developments in aerospace engineering.
I see. So can you please introduce what you are working on and what's your education right now?
So currently, I'm in my sophomore year, attending the University of Alabama in Huntsville, pursuing aerospace engineering. And some of my projects here, especially with the Space Hardware Club, are actually launching a model rocket to the Kármán line.
Ooh.
And so it's going to be 100 kilometers in the sky. And that's actually a project here at UAH we're doing. And a lot of interesting developments there. Especially in the radio side of things, and so that's my role currently.
I see.
Radio.
I see. That's pretty fascinating. So tell me about what type of radio stuff you are working on and how the Space Hardware Club achieved the greater goal of aerospace. Access to the space. That's big thing right now.
Mhm.
Like SpaceX, Blue Origin, all the big companies
Yeah.
are planning to democratize the space travel. So tell me a little bit about that. What do you think about the bigger goal of the Space Hardware Club?
Yeah, and so I think it's a good organization to prepare students for the industry in space and help learn some of those core skills. And specifically in my role with radio, for example, coming up with new interesting ways of applying communications technology with aerospace vehicles. And so for our current project, we have a carbon fiber body tube, and that's going to prevent the radio signals from traveling. So we're trying to innovate a new radio signal type system to communicate like that. And so that's a good application for the getting to space, and because that comms are an interesting and required aspect of space travel. You can't have space travel without comms. You can't talk to the spacecraft. So that's an interesting challenge, and definitely throwing around some ideas to overcome it.
Yes, yeah, because I guess the communication is the key role when you are traveling in the space, because you want to make sure you constantly communicate with the human beings who are living in Earth, and monitoring if you're facing some issue, you can get technical help. The astronauts can get technical help from the specialized person who is sitting in the ground. So yeah, definitely you are doing awesome work, man. So why we are searching, we investing billions and billions of dollars to accessing in the space? Why we are doing this? What's the motto? Why we should
and so
go to the space?
Yes, I actually wrote a paper on this about this very question. Why we should explore space? Why spend all this money to go to space? And it happens more in the innovation that Earth benefits from that. So the technologies that we create to get to Mars, for example, may not benefit Mars in the beginning, but definitely could benefit Earth starting from when we develop them. So new booster technology, new science that we do in orbit, and traveling between planets, developing that sustaining technology, the life sustaining aspects that we need to get astronauts to Mars can help people on Earth as well. And so the challenges that we face to get to another planet helps us kind of motivate to create some stuff that we wouldn't be able to do otherwise, or we may not know how to do otherwise. So I think that's the key aspect of space travel. Is it's more of a challenge, not only to develop new technology, but to improve technology here on Earth.
So yeah, I totally agree with that. The space travel help humanity to move forward, basically. And I guess the another aspect is we can invent a lot of things into the zero G, in the International Space Stations.
Yes,
lots and lot of discoveries, and even research is going on right now.
Lots of interesting challenges about especially biology and life in space, and microgravity and zero G. It's definitely interesting, the way that they're also the capability that they're able to have due to lack of gravity. So, being able to have like more compact designs due to the fact that there's, gravity's not weighing down parts.
Yes.
So you can have like different interesting structures and holding those experiments and the assemblies and stuff together. And so the space station's definitely come long strides to develop a lot of that technology.
Yeah. So what do you think? Space station will be like kind of a launching pad to space, or what? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I'm not sure if they'll expand the space station to have that, or if maybe they'll create a new one. I know they have the Gateway program that NASA's developing.
Oh, really?
Is a space station that's going to go between the moon and Earth. And so that's going to always be orbiting between the moon and Earth.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
So okay, tell me more about that. I'm interested.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So they're creating a new type of station, and it's not as big as the ISS, of course. It's a little smaller, but it will orbit between the moon and the Earth. So that way you can like dock onto it, ride it over to the moon, and then dock off. So it's not you're not using up as much propellant for a rocket every time, and it's being supplied with fuel and resources.
Because basically you're traveling in the 0G. So if you like just use a small plasma propulsion, might be a good option
over a long period of time too.
Yes.
Then you can easily adjust your orbits to always keep it within that range.
Oh, so NASA is working on this project right now, or they are?
They're currently working on this now. I'm not sure exactly when they'll finish it, of course, or have it ready, but it is definitely a project that they have in the making.
Oh, that's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, very exciting. It will take a bit of time to get there, and I want to say that Mars being further distance from the moon, they hopefully could have implement that system, but due to the distance, it'll likely be a station that doesn't always orbit between the two, but maybe something that stays in Earth's orbit, resupplies, and then travels to Mars, then orbits Mars, and you can land on the planet, and then it'll come back. So very similar to that, I would imagine technology would transfer.
Would transfer that. Okay. And what do you think about the challenges to go to colonize the different planets? And like, would you prefer to colonize in Mars or Moon?
I think the moon would be easier just because of the distance, and maybe like the conditions as well with radiation on Mars and all of that. It's a bit difficult to keep people there and just on the surface as well. So they're both pretty close in with both not having a thick atmosphere or oxygen enough to live on the surface. But I would say that Mars would be fun, an interesting challenge to colonize. That would be a great advance in technology. But the moon would probably be easier, I'd say. So it's good, I think, that they're starting with the moon. At least NASA is. And then SpaceX is working to go to Mars as fast as possible. So
Yes. And what about colonization? So going there, any different planet, is the one thing. But staying there and expand humanity in that particular place is a whole different challenge we have to come across. So what do you think about that challenges? Because for example, there is no any government regulations, there is no any laws or the even sustain society like agriculture, supply chain. There is nothing, right? So what type of other challenges you might think of which we have to maybe NASA already figuring out that, of course, they have already feared than normal people. So so what do you think about that?
Those are some interesting challenges, I think, and it's with that sense that there's not claimed land in outer space, international, not even claimed internationally. Like, it's never been thought of to go and explore there by per country. And since seeing that America was the first on the moon, I don't know how they handled that specifically. Like, I don't know if it's, part of that is claimed or not. It would be an interesting idea if they had created a committee or something to instill that, space and, designate who gets, what areas. And with the laws and regulations not being instilled, it's an interesting idea that, you know, there could be eventually, like, you know, interstellar war, like Star Wars in a way. You know,
okay.
But you know,
we can make a movie.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, those are some interesting ideas. Definitely room for brainstorming.
Brainstorming.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. Space tourism. What's your thought about the space tourism? You know, not going in the exploring the space, but you know, traveling in the space, because as you know, I think Richard Branson has successfully tested his first Virgin Galactic plane. So this is, and it's pretty awesome stuff. I loved it. They have like I think they flew and they above the Karman line, and then I think around the Mach 3 or 4, and then they land back and they're safe. Main thing is, like, if you travel Mach 3 and they come back and you're safe at the age of, I think, is 85, 86, I guess. I think the plus 70, I guess, that's for sure. So at that age, Mach 3, so they're achieved really good space tourism flight.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting ideas with that, and you know, having the ability for people to go and visit space, not necessarily live there,
because space is scary.
It's
dangerous.
Very dangerous. But you know, it is inspiring, I think, for younger kids to be able to, younger students to be able to visit it, and even older people who have, you know, wanted to go to space, and now they have the opportunity to with the commercial crew and all those programs coming back. And so that's definitely something that I think a lot of the companies are considering. And actually, I believe SpaceX is even considered traveling between continents using rockets.
Oh.
So not only do you have the space tourism fact, but you actually get to tour Earth using
space
tourism.
So
you go up into space, visit space for a bit, then you come land, go to a different country.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So what, like my flight travel from India to US will be 2 hours?
Yes.
Instead of 20 hours?
Pretty much anywhere in the world within, you know, a few hours.
Okay.
That's much faster than air travel.
Well, I'm waiting for that for sure. SpaceX achieved successfully human space flight. You know, first company who achieved, apart from NASA is a government body, but first company who achieved a successful human space flight is SpaceX. So after that, lots and lots of companies are getting into the space industry. Blue Origin, Virgin Galactic, even like Boeing, right? SLS program is a joint venture between NASA and Boeing. So what do you think about this space is growing, you know? Space industry is growing, lot of privatization of the space is bumping up, okay, from last decade. So so what do you think about this privatization? It's a good or bad? And it should encourage a lot of you know, younger entrepreneurs who want to, you know, build new space companies. It's super hard, that's for sure. But it's worth to try or not. What do you think about that?
I think it's definitely a good idea to be expanding more and developing more companies. There are a few other companies, and I don't think I think I can't remember the names of them. They're starting up, but they have their own designs, their own rockets. Not as advanced as SpaceX, Blue Origin, or Virgin Galactic, I will say, but they're getting started in that field, and that's I think a great idea, because even though SpaceX can, you know, launch a rocket within a very short time frame between launches, good turnaround time, there's still room for smaller companies to charge maybe less or have more of a buffer, so that way other companies can, you know, that are maybe starting up for, let's say, a satellite company. They want to put their satellites in orbit. They don't want to pay the high price that maybe SpaceX would be charging, and maybe they don't need to go as high, or maybe they only need to launch one satellite, so they go to a smaller company that may charge less, and that helps both the companies grow. And so I think it's definitely a good idea to continue expanding and developing more businesses.
And also, like, it will not lead to a kind of you know, monopoly or something like that, because if in the market is one monopoly to access to the space, it's a kind of not a good idea, I guess.
Yeah, and that's actually what we recently had with the Russian space program.
Oh, really?
They would charge per seat for NASA astronauts to fly on their vehicles.
Okay.
It was a lot more than it probably could have been.
Could have been.
Due to the fact that that was the only
one provider
to
the
ISS.
Yes, yeah.
At the time. After the shuttle program ended, that was the only way they could send NASA astronauts to space stations. So they had to pay that price to get there. So now that SpaceX has their own commercial crew program, yes, then they're able to charge less.
Yeah. That's of course. So the expanding in the privatization is of course definitely a good idea and encouraging idea. So what do you think about when we access to the space? What should we expand to first broader horizon out of the solar system, or should we first focus on the colonization on the rocky planets like Mars, Moon, or any? And the interesting fact is also a lot of community, right? Like currently thinking about the going to the Venus.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, and I think it's kind of going both ways at this point. What I see is kind of like a split. So you've got NASA that's going on more scientific missions and more like extraterrestrial and even like outside our solar system. So like farther from that, they're going out and doing more experiments in that sense with the probes, and even like towards further planets that we may not even be able to visit ourselves. And they're doing more of the research there. And SpaceX is looking to more colonize the planets that are habitable.
Yeah.
So and even some of the moons and places. So I see NASA doing more research outside of the solar system and even around the solar system than colonization. And then you have SpaceX and the more private companies going in and doing those colonizations.
Okay. So we have two stream of space industries going. One stream is going to the exploration, and one stream is going to the colonization, right? Yeah. And most probably the private sector is focusing on the colonization, and the government sector is exploration. Yeah, that might make much more sense. Because exploring the space is so vital, I guess, and the asteroids, so we don't know the asteroids which they made from, a couple of new elements also, and couple of spatial elements, uranium and like precious material is stored in the asteroids. So I think it's a really good idea to explore and figuring out filling the places in periodic table, and extending your periodic table is it's a pretty cool stuff, because if you figure out only one element, it can change whole different industry right now, because because it can interact with different elements and can make whole new products and change the economy. So yeah, definitely exploring the space is so vital. So it leads to asteroid mining.
Asteroid mining.
Yeah, because hey, if you find a really good material, you can get a good bucks.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of interesting materials in asteroids. I'll say that's a good industry that I think a private company would develop.
Yes.
I'd say once maybe there's colonization in Mars and the Moon, you have more space travel between. You might have private companies sending probes out to some asteroids, and you might have them mining and retrieving samples, both from Mars and the Moon, into those sections. And of course, if there's high value resources, that would be a good market, I would say, for those private companies to get started. And they would actually even probably outsource their space travel with those companies that had started the colonizations. So they might have SpaceX send them one of their probes out and their probe would return. They would make 2 to 3 times what they paid to send it, and that would be a good, I think, market.
I see. Okay. And so if we plan to do this kind of stuff, I don't think we will like endanger the human beings into this type of missions. So I think it would be a good idea to develop some automatic system or the probes. So it leads me to like think, okay, so we need a good automatic system, automation. So what do you think about the current development in the automation, AI systems and vision detection? So what's your thought about that? Where we are right now, that area will be how that AI systems and automation will affect the space exploration. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, and automation, I think, is going to be a key aspect in the early stages of the development of colonization. So you probably would want to send a mining probe to Mars to clear out a flat spot of land before you may build something there. And so I personally think we're at the stage where we can develop a AI system to do that, or even if it's controlled remotely here on Earth. So we can send in those probes and those robots, you could say, to help clear out landing spots, and then they send in the materials they need and get it all like set up remotely. Then send the humans to the okay. And even if maybe they send a mission. While the process is going on, they stay in orbit for Mars for a couple months or so. Then they land because they have a better connection there and can actually leave and return to the surface easier than most if they
going to directly in the land. Mars land. Okay. Yeah, that's this really good idea. So AI systems are like adding that systems into robots and sending them. And hey, we need machines to build machines. So any space exploration, you got to have some automatic system to build a new system which can make houses or habitable zone in the new land, new world, and then after we can go move forward in that area or the habitable zone. That's a really good idea, I guess. So after like exploring the space, what will be the next step?
After exploring space, how big space is, man. I don't think we'll reach that point, at least not soon.
Okay. What's your thought about the black hole and wormhole?
So there's a lot of...
Is this a shortcut to travel space or what? We don't have to make a rocket, just travel to the black hole.
I think a lot of that is going to be determined through experimentation on Earth and maybe even other planets. Once we set up maybe some radio telescopes on Mars, they'll have these bigger telescopes between planets. So you can almost have a telescope on the Moon, Earth, and Mars, and maybe even another planet like Venus, set them up and triangulate them like we had done on Earth to photograph the black hole. Do that on a much larger scale.
That's why you can make bigger telescope.
Telescopes with we're limited by the landmass of Earth. So we're limited by how big Earth is. So if you go and establish those satellite dishes on other planets, you're able to expand that network much larger than it was on Earth. Much larger, between planets, you're gonna have bigger distance.
Now you have space telescope.
And so once we'd almost create a telescope out of the solar system, and be able to see around the universe that way. Much more.
That will be super exciting.
Yes, I think that is definitely an option. I think that's maybe what will happen, and that'll determine more about
the space and understanding of space.
Understanding more.
How the dynamics of the spaces work. Oh my God, this is exciting.
Yes, very exciting.
And okay, what do you think about we can put one telescope at Pluto, one telescope at Earth, Venus, all the like the farthest planets, and then we can synchronize that data to get a bigger picture of the universe.
Yeah, and farther away too, I think.
Oh my God, yeah, that will be a really good project, I guess.
Yeah,
NASA should start this.
Technology is advancing too, so we'll have upgraded dishes as well. So I think it's just going to keep getting exponentially more advanced as we go into the next, I'd say 40, 50 years. It's around the corner.
Oh my God, yeah. That's I am eagerly waiting for that.
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
It definitely would be very, very
and I think after 20, 50 years, we will have better vision cameras, because as our microprocessor and like the optics is increasing dramatically, the clarity and the figuring out the distance, searching from distance is getting exponentially advanced. So I think it will be like at that point of time, I guess we might explore at least half of the universe if we achieve, set up all the cameras in the different planets and the advanced camera, by the way, and the looking to the, universe. That will be really so. Okay, but we want to travel there.
You do want to travel there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So, what will be the advanced new propulsion systems you can think about? I think in our university, Dr. Castleberry, who is working on nuclear propulsion, right?
Yeah, nuclear propulsion is definitely a possibility. And I think a lot of the propulsion that we are looking into developing now is just going to be too slow to get there in a time frame that we're experiencing.
Yes, because we are limiting with the light speed. Limited by light speed, right? And like if I want to travel from one galaxy to another galaxy, if I travel with a light speed, it will take like, I don't know, 100 years, because 100 light speed is minimum, I guess. So,
and even then, I think they do have some issues with like dark matter, and they don't know how that's separating out the different galaxies. So even if you traveled as fast as you could, there's some places you just won't be able to reach.
Won't be able to.
It's kind of interesting to think about.
So like tell me about like a little bit about dark matter, how it interacts with the matter if we travel to the light speed or near to light speed, let's say. Like what's the obstacle? They may be like kind of that dark matter become a rock which like interact with the matter, or what?
So we don't, of course, know what dark matter is.
Yeah, that's why it's dark.
It's dark. No, don't know exactly what it is, but we know that there's, of course, something there separating out, the different clusters of the universe as we see it. And so even though we can visibly see that, that's not some place that we're able to go due to the way dark matter interacts with those clusters. It kind of pushes them away and prevents traveling between them.
Yes.
And so knowing that there's, you kind of think like, okay, well, if there's places we can't reach, that's maybe just a reason why we may not develop a technology to go there yet. Like we may only be exploring our large cluster of galaxies, which is a lot already.
Yes.
And that would be enough science to determine what we need to know in the universe. And so maybe those do have, or at least we will develop a technology to go between that. Because of course we don't know what dark matter is. Maybe it's some simple thing that we find out about it that will allow us to jump between it. But as the science stands, we're limited to this one cluster.
So like dark matter clusters. So as per, as you said, like we cannot pass the dark matter cluster.
You could think of it kind of like a sea. So you've got like islands.
Yeah.
Each island is like going to be our cluster of galaxies we can go to.
Okay.
So you're on your island, and you visibly see another island across the ocean.
Oh, but so we need a boat now.
You need a boat, and we don't know how to make
you
the
don't
boat.
know, okay.
We don't know how to make the boats.
I see.
Boats.
Okay, so we aerospace engineer has to invent a boat. Yeah,
yes,
I got it.
We need
a dark boat.
Yeah, dark boat to cross the dark sea.
Okay. Like travel in the dark ocean, we need a dark boat. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so future aerospace engineer, we has to focus on the dark boat.
Make a dark boat.
Make a dark boat. Yeah. Oh, this is really fascinating because it will explore, like, so we have to think. So we know the rocket, which is one mode of travel to space, right? Now we have to think different mode of travel system which can travel in the dark matter.
Yes.
And like this is kind of okay. So this might be a next, venture.
Yes.
Okay, we have reusable rockets. Now we need reusable dark rockets.
Yeah. So it's kind of like expanding on the current technology and adapting it. To,
there is a lot to explore now. Yeah, because in terms of the physics, because we know the rockets with their travel in the air, what's the aerodynamics behind that, right? So based on that understanding of the physics, we can develop rockets, but we don't know enough about the dark matter physics.
Yeah, we don't know.
So travel in the dark matter, we need to understand what's might goes, like what is the dynamics inside the dark matter. If there is a different world, what's the physics in that world? Yeah. So first of all, I think that's a really interesting topic. I think the sun, right? Sun is working on that. CERN in the Europe, right? They are working. I think dark matter. Yes.
There's a lot of I'm sure research going on with dark matter, and definitely with the advancement in aerospace technology, the technology in aerospace that we're developing with the commercial crew and getting colonized planets and developing the technology to see further, I think that'll help advance that research. So they're going as fast as they can, and aerospace is going as fast as they can.
Okay.
Eventually, one will, come up with something that will help the other.
It's kind of work side by side or hand by hand, I would say. So as per you said, like, so there are like kind of cluster between two galaxies, or this like kind of half of the universe is dark and half of the I don't think so. They're
it's
like
kind of like so
in middle of space. It's one cluster and kind of
so think
cluster.
of like the Andromeda galaxy and the Milky Way. They're in the same cluster.
Okay.
So they're in this like box, you could say, this sphere.
Yeah.
And that's traveling away from the initial like Big Bang explosion that happened. And so they're traveling away, and there's the sea of dark matter. We don't know what it is, but it's sea between these spheres or these like clusters. So to get between the clusters, you need to cross dark matter. So they're all spreading out, but it's going to be mainly travel between the galaxies in our cluster before we're able to go outside. So you can kind of think of it like that. So we have these little islands.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're traveling outward.
So but that cluster is they can detectable or not? Or
we can see the other galaxies with seeing them with Hubble's able to
because we can see the different islands.
So
similar logic.
It's same thing. You can see the other islands across the sea. You just can't get there.
But in between, I can see a water in the land, right? But can I see the dark matter in the space?
We're unable to see it. We just know that it's there. There's something there. I'm not sure exactly what research has gone into determining, that it exists.
It is definitely not in the visible
spectrum. They see the effect of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the way they observe the black hole.
It's kind of roping out the space-time continuum.
Gravitational waves that are. There was an experiment that went on that determined, a difference in gravitational, force that was there, and so there was nothing there though to
So they're creating some gravity, so it must be
it's something.
Something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but they are not in the visible spectrum. So our space telescope, which is situated in different planets, can't see that.
Yeah, it can't see the like visible, like it's not visible light.
Yes, but it's they like if it is not in the visible light or visible spectrum, they are in the any other frequency, or you just measure the gravitational waves.
I think it's just gravitational. I don't think there's any frequency that they emit.
Okay. So based on the gravitational waves detection of that, we can say that there are something there,
but we just don't know what it is.
Okay, that's a little bit hard to digest, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting.
Yeah, because as an aerospace engineer, I didn't know about that. Like we cannot travel from dark matter. That's
and it's a ways away though. So we've got a cluster of galaxies, so we haven't even been outside our own galaxy.
But
so it's far away.
It's far away, yeah.
You know.
But like it's really good to know that okay, we still need to improve.
Yeah.
You know, just going to space is not only one option. We need to advancement in technology to access to more space.
Yes.
Yeah. That's pretty fascinating stuff to know.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I guess I had a really wonderful time with you, and I got really amazing thoughts. Space telescope and the dark matter, and we need a blackboard. Dark blackboard. Yeah. So, well, I am glad to having you here today, and have a good day.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed talking about space. Always love talking about space and all the theories and interesting ideas. So, you have a good day as well.